Good morning, everyone. I'm wondering if this is really, really loud. I'll have to bring myself down. Let me just take another sigh. All right. Welcome to church, everyone. We still have a few people doing their fingerprints, and I'll let you know what that's all about in a little bit. So I wanted to share any announcements, and if anybody has any announcements, please let me know or raise your hand and I'll let you speak. The announcements we have in the bulletin, if you're on the core team, and I actually forgot about this, that we are meeting, doing our core team meeting on January 18th, which is Saturday, from 10 to 3. We haven't gotten together for quite a while, so I think Pastor wanted to make sure we have enough time to talk about everything we need to talk about or plan. Next week on Sunday, the 19th, our youth are going to be here, and after, hopefully they'll all be here, like we had that one Sunday, we had so many, and we're going to a play at the Musical Playhouse. So we're going to take the youth out to a play on the 19th. It says to visit the church website if you want to see any current information about things going on. And they have a special request in here, so maybe take your bulletin home. If you've been using Rainier Connect, that's the old email, and no one looks at it anymore. So your emails won't be read on Rainier Connect, no longer monitored, it says. So it's office at umclw.org. So it's in the bulletin if you want to write that down. Hospitality and snacks. Well, we all know that we all love to have a snack once in a while, so if you're able to do that, that'd be great. We have sign-up sheets in the back for that, and flowers. All right. I guess it's time to have our call to worship and scripture reading, and Ron's going to do that for us. Ron, do you need a mic? Okay, you're going to take that.
Good morning. Everyone hear me? Today's call to worship. Come all who long to be seen, to be heard, and to be known. We come trusting that God meets us in our deepest places. Before we spoke a word, God knew us. Before we took a step, God's hand was upon us. Such knowledge is too wonderful for us, too vast to comprehend. Whether we walk in light or shadow, God's presence surrounds us, guiding and sustaining. We are fearfully and wonderfully made, known and loved by the one who calls us his own. Come, let us worship the God who knows our story and welcomes us into his. We come to celebrate the one who knows us fully and loves us completely. The Lord who loves us says in Psalm chapter 139, verses 1 through 6 and 13 and 14. O Lord, you have searched me and known me. You know when I sit down and when I rise up. You discern my thoughts from far away, for it was you who formed my inward parts. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Amen. You may be seated.
Our opening song is "Oh, for a Thousand Tongues to Sing." We are omitting 6 and 6. Oh, 4 and 7. So we're singing verses. Hey, there you go. Good plan, Carol.
And it says for 1,000 tongues, so you'll have to sing really loud.
I like that.
cars today.
Well, being I'm in the pulpit today, we're doing a children's moment. So some of you came in late, and you need to go and do this real quick, or do it after. But it would be nice for everybody, because I'm going to have people switch by someone who's close to you. But I'm going to start off by, because the sermon today is all about me and my life. That's what we're going to learn about some other people too, and their adventures in life. So it's going to be my story. It's not about the scripture. So I wanted to do something that was about the scripture today, because it's a lovely scripture. It's Psalm 139, and I specifically just chose verses 13 and 14 for our children's moment. But some of you came in, and I had you do, oh, look at Judy's my man of the hour, or woman of the hour, I guess it would be, wouldn't it? She's getting fingerprints from everybody. So I'm not going to call anybody up, but I want you to all to be children right now and interact. It is such a beautiful thing when you think about how our bodies are made. Our bodies, when you think of the veins running through and the cells that go everywhere, your blood cells moving around your body, and all your bones, and all the things that can happen to our wonderful body as well. Think about it. And every single body is different. Now just take that in for a minute, because when I was reading this and talking about how God knit me together in my mother's womb, think about that. He made each single one of us, and none of us are the same. There's none of us. And when you think about the world, how many people live in our world today? And not a single person, even in your family, is exactly like you. That's amazing. I think it's hard for kids to understand, oh, but I have a twin. Okay, you have a twin, but your fingerprints are not the same. You might look like, you might have features that look so much like that people can't tell you apart, but there is something that's very unique about every single person. And with twins, it's their fingerprints. So that's why I had you do a fingerprint today. And I want you right now to just look at your fingerprint. Everybody has did their fingerprint, hopefully. And just look at the lines or the design you might have in your fingerprint. And I want you, when you feel you're ready, you kind of know what yours looks like, because you might not be able to look back at it if you switch with somebody. I'd like you to just switch with somebody close to you. And maybe it's a family member. It'd be good to see how your fingerprints, if you're a family member together, sitting together, how it's different. So if you need to get up and switch with somebody, please do. This is children's time. You can run around, you can play around. I got to carry this thing around, so that's not easy for me to do. I'll give you a few minutes, or a couple minutes, to look at someone else's and how it's different, even if you had to sit by them and maybe compare the two. Now, while you're kind of comparing your fingerprints and looking at how different they are with someone else, I want you to think about this question. What do you think is the best thing your body can do? Just think about that for a minute. Best thing your body can do. I don't know the best thing my body can do anymore. It could do a lot more when I was younger, but yeah, I think I'm grateful that my tongue can still taste things pretty well and decipher what they are. And sometimes people lose that sense of taste in your tongue. Or maybe you love singing and you can still sing. You have a pretty good voice to sing. So is there anything you think is the best your body can do? Because someone can shout out. Something you do that you think you can do really well still. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Carol. Walk. I'm so grateful I can still walk. I can walk upright as well. What? Think. Oh, that is awesome. Sometimes, yes, Ron? Listen. Yeah. Show compassion. I love that. Love that. Yay for Thursday, lunch group. Yes, sandwich making. We can do that. It is so wonderful that we can do so many things in our life still, no matter how old you get, and that you still might have your thinking capacity, and to know your great-grandchildren when they run up to you, or your grandchild. It is a wonderful thing to know that our bodies were made by God, and we're all different. We're all different. God made each one of you unique. There's no one in the world just like you. And God loves you for who you are. He knows everything about you down to your fingertips. Let's say a word of prayer. Dear God, I just thank you for making this amazing body that we're all in, and that we're all different. It is so good to be different. We get different ideas. We get different things we can do. And together, as our church, we can make things happen. That's what I'm so looking forward to. We can make many things happen. We just ask you to bless that and our work here at UMC at Lakewood. And all God's people said, amen. That's an amen for sure. All right. Now, I'm going to start out. I have, of course, these things written down, but I'm not sure. Carol, I have given pictures to Carol, and I how about the first one, Carol? We'll get that up. And, all right, so in our outline, the outline that Pastor Stephen gave, and he's going to give it to other people every second Sunday. This is going to happen the second Sunday of the month, because that's the Sunday that Pastor's gone. And he wants to know our stories, what we've been through, what built our faith, and where we are today in our faith. So my introduction, of course, is that was, I think I was 2 there. What I loved about this is, I chose this picture because my dad was still living with my mom. Eventually, they did get a divorce, and I'll chat about that in a little bit. But this is a chair that my dad made me. It was out of leather. It was a leather rocking chair, little red rocking chair. And it was my favorite thing when I was little. I could sit, that was out in my mom's backyard, and she could go in the house, do house cleaning. I'd be right in my rocking chair. I didn't move from that thing, I guess. At least that's what she told me. She said, you know, you just got to get up and pick something up off the ground or a flower. She had a big flower garden. Anyway, I wanted to share that picture because of the memory of my red rocking chair. It fell apart. I had it at my last house in Lakewood, when I lived in Lakewood. So it was around for quite a while, and my kids did use it, and they were a little harder on it than me, so that's what happened. Anyway, moving on from that. I have a family, memory that, I'm going to say that a lot of what I talk about comes from this book, and you'll see this picture later on anyway, but my wonderful children, I have 4 daughters, as many of you know, all grown and adults. They decided last year, or maybe it was the year before, it took me a whole year to write this book because I didn't really want to. But they chose questions. It's out of if anybody, children out there, want your family, you want mom and dad to write a book about their life, it's called Storyworth. It's online. It's an online website. And your family, or my daughters in this case, could choose questions they wanted us to answer. Here's the question I'm going to share right now. They chose, what was your mom like when you were a child? So both my husband and I had to answer these, but I'm reading because it's my story. I remember my mom as always working during my childhood. She worked the 3 to 11 shift at the hospital so she could be home during lunchtime each day, school day, and I would walk home for lunch with other kids in our neighborhood. I remember having a close relationship with my first grade teacher. Her name was Miss Henches. After school, because my mom did work the late shift, after school, my grandma or my mom or grandma would pick me up from her house. Miss Henches agreed, I think back then it was not a big deal, but I think once they got to know who she was, my mom felt comfortable asking her if she could pay her something to watch me for just a little bit. My grandma sometimes could pick me up earlier than my mom when she got off at 3. So I wasn't at her house very long, but my first grade teacher became very dear to me. She gave me cookies and milk after school. She let me do things and draw, and she would ask me questions. She was a good role model for me, and because of her and a 5th grade teacher that showed me the fun in teaching, that's what I became. And even though that was such a long ago thing that happened, it inspired me to become a teacher. These two teachers that I had that were wonderful. When I was older, our neighbors across the street watched me until my mom was home from work, and my mom always made our time together very special. She taught me how to sew, take the bus downtown, go to parks, and out to lunch and shopping when we were downtown. And my favorite memory when I was younger is going to church every Sunday with my grandma, my Aunt Millie, my Uncle Russ, my cousins Sandy and Tim. I loved Sundays because we always went back to one of our houses. We took turns and made meals, and we ate together. My mom was the most caring and hardworking woman I knew. I miss her every day. Okay, so she was a big part of my faith journey, and making sure I was at church and in Sunday school every Sunday when I was younger. So I'm moving on, and it says the next question that I thought belonged here in this first section where I'm supposed to talk about the influence of others. What things matter most to you in your life? First, and this is why I started. First, the most important is living your life with God and Jesus leading you. Making your daily decisions, your relationships, how you act toward other human beings, all in accordance of Jesus' teaching. Love God with all your heart, mind, soul, and your neighbor as yourself. Life with spirit and enthusiasm, and a life of intensity and vitality. You know I have that, right? Comes only with the choices we make and how we want to be in this world. Make life worth living with the choices you make each and every day. Okay. I don't know where we are in pictures. You want to go ahead and put up my homestead. This was my mom's house. My dad built this house. It has only 2 bedrooms on this side that's sticking out. There are 2 bedrooms. The bathroom is that octagon-shaped window was the bathroom. And the kitchen was the other window facing the front. And the living room was the whole length of the back. It was a wonderful house to grow up in. I just loved our house. Okay. So we can move on, Carol. I don't know what the next picture might be, but... All right, now, the next section, and if you're asked to do this, there's like 7 sections he gives you of an outline. And the first was introduction. So that was my introduction. I'm on to section 2 now. The introduction was 1, which is your childhood memories, like my elementary years. So here is my childhood memory, and of course it has to do with my mom, because she was the most important thing when I was young. What is one of your earliest childhood memories? The most vivid memory was my first trip going downtown to Minneapolis with my mom. I was 5 or 6, almost 6. And it was my first time on a city bus. I love that. It was so much fun. I wanted to keep standing, and my mom said, no, sit down, sit down. It was amazing once we were downtown, and all the tall buildings were beautiful and kind of scary at the same time. We went to a Chinese restaurant for lunch called the Nankin. Now that became our favorite place to go. It's no longer there, unfortunately. I actually went and looked. Last time I was in Minnesota last year. Not there. It was a wonderful restaurant. As I grew a little, I remember shoe shopping. So we would keep doing these little trips on the weekends, Saturday usually, down to Minneapolis, and even when I was middle school. I remember shoe shopping being my favorite thing to look for and buy. I don't know if you ever look at my shoes. Now you're going to look at them more closely, aren't you, every week? But I do like shoe. My shoe closet's pretty full. Anyway, first things, these first experience never die is what I wrote in here, and I said ha 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 to my children who read this book. All right. Also, what I looked forward to as a child. It says, what did you look forward to most as a child? Okay. This is probably most kids, I'd say, and maybe some of you as adults, was your fondest memory is Christmas time. As elementary, I so looked forward to Christmas. Loved being part of Christmas concerts in school. And in elementary school, we sang to our parents. We had a Christmas concert. I liked shopping with my mom, of course, decorating the house and tree, and especially when we all went to my Grandma Ruth's on Christmas Eve for family dinner. Singing carols, opening presents. My Uncle Russ always took movies of the festivities. You know, the old, I don't know what they were back then, but the old movies, he still has reels. My cousin Sandy has tried to, I think most of them she did get them turned over to pictures, but you know, the movie reels, wow. I think hopefully they got a lot of them. I haven't seen too many of them lately. Enjoyed the summers when I was old enough to start going out to my Aunt Jen and Uncle Orn's farm. Now, my Aunt Jen and my Uncle Orn were my dad's sister and her husband. They lived on a farm in Aberdeen, out of Aberdeen, South Dakota, out in rural. And my brother started going out there when he was 5 years old. My brother, I haven't talked about him. I have one brother, and I have one stepsister. Like I call her sister. She is my sister. But my brother was 8 years older than me. And that, I wasn't going to necessarily share this, but it was, my dad was home on leave, and then the World War II started, or maybe it was during the middle, he had to go back. So he was home, he had to go back, and my mom became pregnant with my brother during that time. Well, my dad was gone for over 5 or 6 years in Europe. So when he came back, that's when I was born. So we're 8 years apart in age. And that was always kind of interesting because my brother really pampered me. He really took care of me. He was such a dear when he was younger. Not so much. He teases me too much now. So, all right, we're moving on to, I think it's the middle school years. I'm not sure what I wrote down for middle school years. Okay. Well, I'm going to include, I'll stick this in my middle school years. At the age of 9, maybe I can just do it now. At the age of 9, I don't think I have any, no I don't. My dad and mom got a divorce. And it was hard on me then. And it bothered me more as I got older because he ended up marrying the woman across the street from us. And I can't imagine what my mom went through. It's just not something. I have a wonderful marriage, and I love my husband, and we've been married over 52 years. It's like I felt for her, my mom. But she was a trooper, and she did many, many things around. The church was her stable place. She ran the men's breakfast, had 150 men every Thursday morning that she cooked for. She had a little group of women, the church women, UMC church women, loved to cook, and they made the breakfast, and it was, she was the heart, that big part of that church was my mom's cooking and her little helpers. But in my middle school years, I just wrote down some highlights. And you can probably put up my confirmation picture, Carol. We had a pretty big class. I would say, can anybody pick me out? It's probably too far away, so I'll probably just tell you. I'm on the bottom row, and I think there you go, Carol, there I am, right there. So I think I mentioned one other time I was talking about that pastor. He was Ellis. His name was Ellis Graber, and being that's up, I'll just talk about my confirmation time. Confirmation was for middle school. You had to go for this. Now, this was not a Methodist church. It was, at the time, my mom, Union Congregational Church. It was a church of United Church of Christ. So every Wednesday after school, throughout the school year, so it's every Wednesday, all of school year, you had to go to your confirmation class. From 4 to 6 was confirmation class. You did 7th grade. There were 7th grade classes, so when you were in 7th grade, 8th grade classes, you moved up. And the 9th grade class was taught by Pastor Graber. And it was the hardest class I think I've ever had. College, my master's degree, they don't have anything on him, I'll tell you. So every Sunday, he chose every Sunday because it would make students come to church. We had to come and summarize his sermons every Sunday. And we had to turn them in. And he'd grade them. If we got anything wrong, he'd let you know. So that was 7th through 9th grade. In the last hour, because we met from 4 to 6 for class, 6 to 7, our parents were invited to come up and eat dinner. And my mom's group made dinners for confirmation classes. So that was my confirmation. There's no, with as much church going every Sunday and in middle school, and then when I go on, I'm going to be in youth group. I mean, church was a big thing for my family, period. And, but it was, wow, I'm getting ahead of myself. I need to stay to my notes here, okay? I talk about youth group, all right, good. And the pastor, okay, I'm done with that. So as part of youth group, and we would meet and do outings and things, the one I remember, too long. Okay, I turn it off and turn it back on. One outing was horseback riding. Youth group wanted to go horseback riding. To this day, I do not ride horses. And I'll tell you what happened, maybe. So this was, I got on the horse from H. Blank. He didn't stay. He ran. He knew where to go. He knew where the stopping point was in this meadow, but it was like a mile away. And I was so far, I left them in the dust. And I had never ridden on a horse before. In fact, I should have included that picture. Maybe I'll bring it with me and just show you guys next week. I had a picture my parents put me on when I was like 3 or 4 on a pony, cute little pony, just standing still. And Anyway, anyway, I was gone from the group, and they, instead of hurrying up, of course, they just took what the pace they were supposed to be trotting along, and I'm in the meadow. He stopped. I almost fell off because he stopped like short, so I got off the horse and hello, hello, hello. I don't know if it's where I'm standing, do you think? I'll move back a little bit. Anyway, I just moved far away from the horse. End of story. And finally they came, and he just was eating grass. He didn't do anything, but he sure didn't want to go slow with me on him. So that was that. I'm moving on. High school. So young adult. Well, not, I guess. All right. Okay. In high school, I had a small group of friends, and I didn't go to any of the proms. We had a group that was a solid group, boys and girls, but we didn't think we needed to do those kinds of things. We would go out and to Denny's or to, what was the other place that we would go and eat, and after football games, we'd go to football games together, and so that was my social group in high school. And but with the definitely with the confirmation in middle school, during high school, when we went to church, I wanted to become help in the nursery or helper in Sunday school. So I was grilling myself to be Sunday school leader, obviously, at some point in my life, and high school was kind of it. I'm going to move on because I have a lot of stuff to share in the young adult years. So young adult, I started going to college, St. Cloud State University now, but it used to be St. Cloud State College. That was a state college when I went. And right away, I looked for the campus houses that are affiliated with denominations. So I looked for a United Church of Christ. They didn't have anything close. I had to go walking distance. So there was a United Methodist Church right down by the campus, right down the road. And that's where I first started going to UMC in my college. And I found the Wesley House was right across the street from the library on campus. So the street just divided housing and like people's houses and the campus. So I became very involved in the Wesley House. They had a young family who had a 4-year-old daughter, and the pastor, his name was Marvin Rapinski, and he was a sweet, sweet man. His wife was wonderful. And I started, like, if they wanted to go out for dinner, I was the babysitter, the first one on the list. I'm sure there were others, gals that came in and out of Wesley House. So we became close. In fact, when their daughter, so close, in fact, when their daughter, she was 4, she got, chicken pox. I was going to say measles, but I knew it wasn't that. Chicken pox. And I was babysitting her, and I had chicken pox when I was little. So I said, no problem, I can do it, because I've always heard that you don't get it twice. Lie, lie, lie. I was so sick. I still have an indent on my nose from the pock that was there from my college chicken pox. I was so sick. My roommate, we were living in a house, and we had bunk beds. And so for some reason, she was there first, living there first, so I got the top bunk. I went to the medical thing at university in the college, and they just said that you need to, you have the pot, go and just take whatever, I don't know, whatever. If they gave me anything for it, I think it has to work its way out. I don't know, but one night I was so sick. I had 105 temp, and my roommate called. I couldn't get out of bed, and they called the emergency line for campus health or whatever, and they said, if she can't get out, we're going to send a physician over. You need to start packing her in ice. I'm thinking, oh my God. And sure enough, it was darn cold, and they found the woman who owned the house. She went out, they started emptying ice trays back then, but went out and got bags of ice and just put it in the bags around, like a towel around, and put them all around my body in the bed. It was not good. It was terrible. It was one of the fond memory of college. Anyway, but so I got through that, and then like I said, we were in a Wesley house. We had a mission. We did a mission project one year that I think it was in my sophomore year, that we went down on bus. Actually, we were in more of like a minivan, like one of these that hold, because there were I think there were maybe 14 youth or 16 of us, and then about 3 or 4 adults that came with us. Reverend Rapinski was one of them, and he had set up, he had churches that we stayed in all the way down. We were going to build a house down outside of New Orleans in Louisiana. And we stopped at houses, or churches, I take that back, churches along the way. We were allowed to bring a sleeping bag and then, a small suitcase. And we went and stopped at churches, and these people at churches were lovely, would feed us, give us an evening meal, and we'd go to bed, and we'd get up the next morning and keep driving on to the next one. And then just about, trying to think of how the states go, going down from Minnesota, because that's where I was raised. I don't know if I should that. I think when we were down, name some states. Kurt, what's under, going straight now, Minnesota, Iowa? What's underneath Wyoming? No, Wyoming's over here. Say it louder. Missouri? Mm-hmm. Arkansas. Okay. Okay, so Arkansas is right before Louisiana? Is it right next to? Yeah, okay. So I would say Missouri, for sure. Once you got into Missouri, you started seeing a lot of no blacks here. A lot of signs. Racism, quite a bit. And it just got worse as you got going down. We went in, it was in Arkansas, that we went into a restaurant, and one of my best friends, in fact, he's a pastor, I think he might be retired by now, because he was my age. He had a black dad and a white mom, and his family and his sister and they were amazing. I went a lot of times to their house. They lived in Minneapolis. But Hervey, his name, my friend Hervey was his name, he came with us on this mission trip. And we went into a restaurant in Arkansas, and we sat down, and nobody came, and nobody came, and nobody came. And somebody came, and we just kept sitting there. And somebody came and said, "You have to leave." And I said, "Why?" I was the one that said, "Why?" Brave me. We don't allow blackies in here. And so, and of course, Hervey, he was raised, Minnesota, even, I'm sure there was some discrimination up there, but nothing like what you see down there at that time of that year. So he got highly upset. I mean, he was kind of mad. I told him, let it go. Let's get out of here. So we all left. But that was the first taste of that made my heart sick. And as a college-age person, you think, everyone's the same. We can look different, we can be different. But it was heartbreaking to me. Good question, Judy. I graduated from high school in 1968. So it would have been 70, I think 1970. Yeah. Anyway, so we kept going, and we got down, and we worked on the houses, and I think with just 16 of us, I think we accomplished 3 houses in the time we stayed there. I think it was in 3 weeks we were down there, and then went back home. But that was an eye-opening for me of just the racism in our country, of how it was, and it still is today. Let's see. During the only other story I have about my young adult years is I worked in a bread bag factory when I was out of school, like during the summer. And I went back home, and I got this job, and it was like the same hours as my mom kind of worked, from 3 to 11 or 11:30. And it was these, I don't know if I've ever shared this story with anybody, but these bread bags, they were, how they're printed with the kind of bread you have, what bread bags, wheat bread and whatever. So these bread bags factory was really close to our church. And they come down this conveyor belt, and they had 2 holes in them at the top. And you had this pick, like an ice pick, that had a stopper, and you had to scoop. Once you had to count them, and there wasn't a counter. You had to count them. Once you got to 50, you had to get them off before the next groups. But they didn't stop the conveyor belt, so you had to get it in all of that hole, one hole, get them off, and put them on these things that had anyway, you had to get them in groups of 50 and put them down in the box before the next 50 would come. And that's what I did all those hours, except for my meal break or whatever we had. And the one thing I got from this is there was a gal that worked the next shift after me, like the nighttime shift. And I was very, they'd come early, or I'd on break and stuff, and I would go and I talked with this one gal, and very cordial. She seemed very cordial and was seeming to we got to be friends, I thought. And what I found out is, I don't know who told, someone on the night shift after mine, was asking me questions about things that I had done, and I said, "What? I never did that." And she said, "Well, so-and-so told me you did all this stuff, like terrible stuff, like stealing." And so I learned that you try to make friends with someone, and you still don't know a person real well. And she would spread rumors about me at this other shift. And so it was just, it's things that make you aware of you have to be who you are. And if that's the kind of person you want to be, talk about others in a bad way, I don't know what your life is. It rooted in God? Is it rooted in Jesus? So that was one story that I kind of came away. I don't know if it made me more guarded when I talked to people that I didn't know, but I don't think so. I think I grew away from that. Most of my experiences have been so fruitful and loving. All right, moving on. I don't know what time it's. Oh gosh, I got too crazy a life. Let's move on with some pictures here. I don't know. I'll just. All right, there's my wedding, and I kind of smashed that in his face. I always wanted to do that. I always saw people do that too. Anyway, all right, move that on, Carol. We don't. A couple pictures of my kids young and picture of them older. This was my mom, picture of my mom, because I talked about her. And my daughter Kelly's on the side, then Megan, Vanessa, and Stephanie. All right, you can pass that on. What's the next picture, Carol? Oh, there's when we're older. We're all enjoying ourselves down in Reno. And we got kind of dressed up. I don't know if we went to a play, but we were all there. And there's my granddaughter. I loved being there when she was born. She was easy. I told Vanessa, "Oh my gosh, you were that was easy." And she said, "Yeah, Mom, it was a pretty piece of cake." And I said, "I didn't have a with all of you necessarily. I didn't talk about those. They get kind of morbid looking." I mean, not looking, but morbid about talking. Like Kelly was so fast. So she was my first one. We lived 45 minutes away from the closest military hospital. We were in Alexandria, Virginia, when she was born, and we had to drive out Mount Vernon Highway to Fort Belvoir, I think it was. And by the time I got there, my water broke at home. I didn't realize that it should be a certain color or clear or muddy or what, but it was definitely not normal. And by the time we got out there, she was ready. They said, "Oh no, she's coming now. No prep for you. No, whatever they give you to stop the pain." I didn't get any of that on my first one at all. So it was boom down. She was out. We left the house at 8:45. Yeah, it was 45-minute drive. She was born at 9:47. Yeah. So that's my only story about kids. Okay. I don't know what's after that, but let me go on into adulthood. You can show any pictures up there that you want. I think as an adult, you know what? I did have some stories for number 6. Oh, maybe I just talked about it. Okay, I am going to go back and read this because it really irritated me at the time. Getting my irritations. What was your wedding like, and do you recall a funny moment? All right. I'm just going to pick out the one thing. It was lovely, but the one issue on that day was the lateness of my future husband and our best man, Steve. So they decided to stop and have a beer and didn't take into consideration how long it would take to get from St. Paul to St. Louis Park, where we were having our wedding in our church. I was not a happy camper, so I thought I'd share that one. Um, let's see. Tell a funny story about a new activity you once tried. So this was when a young adult. We got married. He was 24 and I was 22 when we got married. So this was still before we were married. My husband was a big canoeer. He loves to canoe. He doesn't do it anymore. I won't even let him. In fact, last October, when we went to Minnesota, we went to the lake that his brother owns a lake home there, and they got out the canoes. His brother and his wife canoe, and I said, "Great." I thought for sure he'd go in. Oh no, he didn't even want to try to get in it. I thought, wow, that was my first kind of hint of that he's either doesn't feel like his balance is good, and it's kind of declining. But I never canoed before this one event here that I'm going to read to you. Let's see. I want to Okay. Greg wanted to take me canoeing because it was something he enjoyed doing, and I was certainly willing and thought it would be fun to do together in the Minnesota summers. On the water and all, well, I pretty much let him pack the food. We would take, because he knew the best things to take that would last and not go bad, so I let him do that. I remember a chili macaroni and cheese, which was good, and then the ever-famous gallon jar of mixed peanut butter and jelly. So he mixed peanut butter and jelly, and this gallon jar was up to the top, so I don't know how many jars of peanut butter or jelly were in there, but it was a gallon jar. I think it was an old mustard jar. And what got to me, I had a couple bites out of it, spoonfuls at the beginning, but this is what happens. Then soon, Greg, it became his staple while he was paddling, and he left the cover off the whole time. And so I stopped eating it because I would watch him eat, including insects that flew into it. He would eat them. Needless to say, I never touched it after that. But I wanted to share one other thing that happened on this journey. So what's so funny is I now, if I cruise am on the water, normally I used to have to take my Dramamine or something for patches or something because I would get seasick. But on the canoe trip, I was sicker than a dog. I couldn't even paddle. I think the first couple of days were pretty, calm. But then we went out and we got into where it was pretty rolling. Because we were on rivers. We were on the St. Croix River. And anyway, I was so sick. So there was this island in the middle of the river. So we stopped there for the night. And set up our camp, and I also had a bad sunburn. Even though I used sunscreen, it was really hot that week. So after we ate something, the next morning, feeling better, we started taking down the tent, lifting the tarp. So we had put a tarp down under the tent, and there was thousands, and I'm not kidding, I don't know how many there were, thousands of the largest beetles I've ever seen underneath the tarp. And they were skittering over my feet, and I was just screaming. It was the ugliest thing I'd ever seen. I just had to share that story. Events through life. I guess I do have for this one, let's see. Okay. this was, I put it in the adulthood, and I just put motto. I don't know if what would you consider your motto to be? And I just said, some of my pages are very short. I mean, when you're writing and you're not sure exactly what to say, but I had to think about this one, and I put down, I try to follow the scripture, to seek justice, show mercy, and walk humbly with my God. We are not perfect, but keeping the above in mind helps to show others how I want to be in this world. All right, now, I think I'm moving on to the last thing. What makes you happy? I will just list the most important things that make me happy, because there are many things in this life that makes me smile. My family, husband, children, grandchildren, extended family, friends, singing, dancing, and my faith. Depending on the day, these may be in a different order. Ha ha ha. All my little post-its are not helping me a whole lot here. Oh, yeah, so this was during my teaching career. The only time I was in a newspaper. I was famous. December 20th, this happened. The lady behind the little girl throwing the pie was our principal. So she got a pie in the face as well, but I volunteered because it was my class that won the food drive. We brought the most in, and her name was Ariel. And she loved, and boy, she got me good, too. It was like right on the smack. Like other kids tried, like they kept trying, but it would go outside. She got me. Anyway. All right. What's a small decision you made that ended up having a big impact on your life? And I'm going to end with this, I think, because it's really late. I hope you guys haven't been bored. Let's see. The biggest impact is, we had a choice. Greg went into the service. He was at the Pentagon for 3 years, but then he didn't really, he wanted to get out. He didn't really think it was right for him, or why the reasoning. So we both got out because we both ended up not finishing our degrees. I didn't finish my bachelor degree because he was gone, and I didn't share this story, but he left and didn't tell his family, like his mom and dad, or me, which we were going together pretty steady, anything. He didn't tell me anything, and he just up and disappeared. He didn't even call people. He was gone, and it was finally, I think my mom, he would call me once a week. I don't know if he called his family once a week, but he called me once a week, and I said, what are you doing? And he wouldn't tell me where he was or what he was doing, and he wouldn't write letters because he didn't want anyone to see the postmark. So it was not a good time for me. I was certainly madly in love. I don't know what happened to that, but no, I'm just kidding. And it was heartbreaking for me. I didn't know why he was doing this. And he ended up, he told the story later. He said, especially for his kids wanted to know, and he wrote it down in the book. He didn't know what to do. He didn't want to keep going to school. He got his degree, a bachelor degree, but he was broke, and he didn't know what to do. And he joined the service. So he went back. you into the service. So anyway, where that one was going, I don't know. All right. That was my last one. Yeah, we went back into the service. Life experiences need to be reached out and grabbed. This is how I ended this section about doing service life, and you have to become quick at making friends. You're only there most times 3 to 4 years in one place. And for my kids, I think it was hard for them to, once they were kids, reaching out to friends and going to the schools there on base. It says life experiences need to be reached out and grabbed when the opportunities come along, or they might not come along again. All right, my friends, I'm going to end it there. I would like thank Pastor Stephen for asking me to be the first one. It wasn't easy. I don't want anyone not to volunteer to do this, because we have probably at least 3 months he wants to have 3 more talkers, people to talk about their life story. And I missed the best part. Walk to Emmaus. If you have never done the walk, they're still going strong. It was by far, I wore this to remind myself, and here I forgot. This is my cross I got at the end of the walk. It was a weekend filled of love, and people from your own church support you. They send you gifts, things you just don't even imagine happen there. And it was by far the one thing in my life, adult life, that made me close to God and believe in Jesus deep in my heart. They had a healing service, and I shared anything that I wanted out of my life, and it was such a blessing. Tears. I can't say enough for that. I worked quite a few walks after that, and they're still going strong. So if anyone interested in something like that, you can come talk with me. All right, where we are in our, we might have to just close down here. I'm looking at time. It's after 10. 11. Okay. So I think at this time we're going to do our response songs. You can bring up any prayer requests you have, offering if you have it. If you need to light a candle, please do.
Letting go of every single dream, I lay each one down at your feet.
I chose these 2 songs for a reason. They inspire me. So if you want to just listen to the words, but certainly sing along.
I'll try to win this war, I confess. My hands are weary, I need your rest. Mighty warrior, king of the fight. No matter what I face, you're by my side. When you don't move the mountains, I'm needing you to move. When you don't part
some prayers to consider. Linnea writes prayers for Lujan. Her granddaughter's husband. He went to the ER in Everett Thursday due to vomiting and dizziness. Tests are being done, MRI, EKG, etc. Show nothing, and he's still in the hospital, so prayers. I'm sorry? Okay. Huh. Miraculous healing. Pray God. Thank you. So he's gotten better. He's able to get up and move around. Wow. What a blessing. Prayers for safety and comfort for those affected by the fires in LA and the area. I don't know who wrote this. Deb. I should have looked at the front. She knows, because they lived down there for a while, she knows, the Warmingtons know some people that are down there and that they had to be evacuated from their homes, but they're still safe. The Santa Ana winds are predicted to increase over the next few days, so prayers, more people don't lose their homes and livelihood. Please pray for my friend May. This is Julie, I believe. Yeah. Who is having pain from cancer treatments. Please pray for my friend Frank, who has finished his cancer treatment. So May and Frank and treatment of cancer. Jan Cope has a prayer request. My daughter-in-law's mother, Jean Stevens, passed away Friday afternoon. So prayers for that family. Jean Stevens family. Okay. Now, Carol, I assume this is you. No, Steve. Steve asks prayers for Ross, my neighbor, has been his ill health. He has been sick lately. Okay. So prayers for Ross, his neighbor friend, and and his health to improve. All right. Let's remember all of these in our prayers. Dear Lord, we just thank you for this day. Thank you for all you give us, and that we need to learn to trust in you, that you will help all those who are in pain, who are in the fire area, for those who have been taken from their homes because of the fires. Please be with all the families in California in the fire area. We just lift you up and have you remember all of our prayer wishes here today. Linnea's family and just Julie and Frank and May. Remember them and keep them in your heart. Help them to go through all they have to go through. We just want to lift all these prayers up to you, Lord. In everything, we believe in you, and we know you will do what is best for all concerned, whether living healthy, living in pain, living not in their own homes. Be with all people today that we have prayed for. I would like to ask all of us to, if you would join me in the Lord's Prayer at this time. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. I'm going to, before we do the benediction, I marked a prayer. I have a little prayer book that I have at home, and I really loved this past Fridays, and I'm going to add this as kind of our prayer, but revisiting memories, it kind of reminded me of what I was doing today, so that's why I wanted to read it to you. Revisiting memories and recalling important people in my life touches my heart with gratitude. Some helped me, others taught me, and still others supported me, but regardless of their roles, they were all kind. These memories fill my heart and give me purpose to share kindness with my dear ones and strangers alike. Feel the presence of God strongly in acts of kindness of all kinds. Whether I am the giver or the receiver, I feel the love, care, generosity, and compassion of the divine during moments of kindness. I pray the world becomes lighter and brighter as kindness spreads among individuals, communities, and nations. What does the Lord require of you but to do justice and to love kindness and to walk humbly with your God? Amen. All right. Okay, yeah. We're just going to do one verse of, well, it's up on the screen. Will you join me in the benediction? Do not be dismayed by the brokenness of the world. All things break, and all things can be mended, not with time, as they say, but with intention. So go, love intentionally, extravagantly, unconditionally. The broken world waits in darkness for the light that is you.